Manchester United have just declared Mason Mount as their #1 transfer target for this summer's window. But Chelsea have slapped an £80 million price tag on his head. Everybody wants him, but the question is, why? I'm Callum Nicol. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for coming back. Hope you enjoyed the first video. Today, I want to talk about Mason Mount. With the news breaking that Manchester United, they've put him at the top of their list, it begs the question, why? He's got 24 Premier League apps. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists in a very underwhelming season for Chelsea. This goes back halfway through the season when Liverpool were in a bit of a slump and talks began around what our summer activity would be. There was a lot of talk of Jude Bellingham for Liverpool. And they were heavily linked with Mason Mount, which I think Liverpool fans at the time welcomed the news because they could do with numbers. But when they really started to think about it, would he really be the guy that Liverpool need? Then Bayern Munich employed former Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel, if you remember, and not going too well for him, actually. But he has also declared that he's interested in Mason Mount and he would like to bring him to Bayern Munich in the summer. It does always seem, actually, that Mason Mount, this might be something that's in his favour within the footballing world, maybe not so much to us outside, but he always seems to be adored by his managers, Mason Mount, doesn't he? You think back to Frank Lampard, and then obviously Gareth Southgate in the England setup, and Thomas Tuchel, who wants to bring him to Bayern Munich, his new club. Manchester United make it interesting today, though, by announcing he's their #1. He's who they want in the summer for their midfield. And what makes it even more interesting is that Chelsea respond with a price tag that I think we can all agree is mental. £80 million gets you Mason Mount in 2023. It could just be Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley trying to rake in as much cash as he can after spending so much, £600 million over the last transfer windows. If you can somehow, I'm not sure there's many ways to make sense of this £80 million fee. I think what it probably is from Bowley is we're going to stick him up for 80 million. Everyone's going to try and barter us down. What we really want is around 60 million, which even still, I'm just not sure Mason Mount has the numbers, has the effect on games, has the foothold on games to command such a fee. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm maybe not reading the room right and people might rate him a lot higher than I do, but I'm not entirely convinced. I think he's always been a player that looks okay and he works really hard and he can pass the ball and sometimes crops through with goals and assists, but not enough to command a figure around that region. Like, we're talking revolutionary young English players that could really, change the face of the game and change a team's season and change a team's aspirations going into the new season. Is Mason Mount that guy? I don't think so. Mason Mount as a footballer will give you 110%, of course, and he plays with his heart on his sleeve and the effort is there. So maybe a team that relies on a lot of running, such as Liverpool, maybe that's where he'll find the most success. But you look at Liverpool's record with spending. Liverpool only really spend money when money comes in for one of their players. It's been seen before with the Coutinho deal when Van Dijk and Alisson were brought in. If they're the kind of figures going around Mason Mount, I don't think Liverpool will be anywhere near him. I thought when they were linked with him early doors, I thought that would be a shrewd little bit of business for around 35 million with a year left on your contract. And it would be similar to the Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain deal. Something that, he had he's a great squad addition and somebody that, like I say, will play for the shirt and will add a lot of value to that midfield. But for £60 million at the least, £80 million, I struggle to see an end product. Can anybody watching this video see Mason Mount or anyone spending £80 million on Mason Mount? I feel like I'm going at him here and I'm really trying not to, but it's a crazy figure, a crazy, crazy figure. You look at the Manchester United. Manchester United have spent an awful lot of money on some players that they perhaps shouldn't have in the past. But I think under Eric Ten Hag, I remember the Casemiro deal when that came about. People were saying he might just be a bit past it actually, but he's revolutionised their midfield. What a brilliant player he's been! One of the signings of the season, definitely. Do they really need to go and spend that amount of money on a player that no one's entirely sure about? A player that struggled massively this season. Of course, Chelsea have as well. It's not all down to Mason Mount. Of course not. They've got far, far greater problems. But I just struggle with all the teams that are linked with him. These top clubs, by the way, top of the tree clubs that are linked with him. I'm not entirely sure how anything about this transfer makes sense for any of these clubs. Manchester United, I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't really see him in that Manchester United team, to be honest. How is Mason Mount being quoted these figures by his name? And would you want your club to spend that kind of money on a player like Mason Mount when there's other players out there on the market? That's the big question. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.